Well, hello everyone, and happy very early Halloween season. It is March, it is the start of speculation season, and I am here today to discuss the very first speculation map from Horror Night Nightmares. It's speculation and rumor season, and I could not be more excited. Let's jump into it. So hello again everyone. If you are a seasoned veteran of my channel, welcome back. It is Halloween Horror Nights 33 speculation and rumor season. If you're new to my channel, hi, I am Liz. I am a die-hard Halloween Horror Nights fan. I have been attending since 2001, and here on my channel I discuss the rumors, speculation, announcements, news, and come fall, I vlog from Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. Last year I went 19 nights. I didn't vlog all of those nights, but there are quite a few vlogs on my channel if you're interested in checking out HHN33 coverage. But for now, let's talk HHN33. I'm so excited. So out of the blue today, on a random Tuesday in March, Horror Night Nightmares released their very first speculation map of the season, and they didn't go easy on us this year. It's interesting. So here's the brand new map, which is covered in symbols, and we're gonna have to do a little sleuthing to figure out what these symbols mean. On some of them I have educated guesses based on rumors that have been swirling. On others, I'm just gonna flat out give you my guess based on wish lists, wants, desires, but obviously it's rumor season. None of these are going to be based in fact. It's all speculation, and this year, especially with all these symbols, it's going to be a lot of guessing. I'm not sure what their intent was on all of these. That's part of the fun of the season. It's solving the riddles, it's figuring out the hints, it's deciphering what's real versus what's just a red herring, and that's the joy of the season. So without further ado, let's jump into this speculation map and see what we can figure out. Let me just preface this again with, this is very early in speculation rumor season. Don't get your heart set on anything too much. You know, it's fine to wish, but just don't get your heart set on things because there's plenty of time for things to change. And also don't worry too much about location. These things are very up in the air as far as insider knowledge even, right? Those who work for Universal know where these are going, but us rumor mongers out here in YouTube and on social media, we don't know these things. Take locations with a grain of salt. So we're gonna start down here in the bottom left corner with an image that looks to be Latin America and South America. So I have a theory on this one based on a house that was in Hollywood last year. It was called Monstrous, the Monsters of Latin America. That's my first guess. Normally, typically, Hollywood takes the mazes from Orlando and crafts them into their own thing, but there's nothing to say that we couldn't take a maze from Hollywood, one of their ideas, and turn it into one of our own. That's my first guess. I'm going with a version of Monstrous, the Monsters of Latin America that we saw at Hollywood last year, and we'll see what Universal Orlando does with it. The next one, what's this little symbol? I guess this little symbol means, oh, that, yeah, okay. So they have a little symbol on the ones that are supposed to be IP. The next one up on the map is what looks to be a skull with vampire teeth, and that's in Soundstage 22, and it's got the IP symbol. My first guess, I really wanted Creature to be the Universal Classic monster at this year, but with vampire teeth, I'm going Dracula. I've seen a lot of discussion online today about it being the last voyage of Demeter. I have not seen that movie, but it does tie in with Dracula. I don't know if it's going to be that or if it's just going to be a Universal Classic Monsters house based on Dracula. If it's Dracula and not Creature, I'm gonna be sad. I feel like Gilman, it was his year, it was his time. Everybody else has had a moment in the spotlight, and it was supposed to be his turn. It's been a while since Dracula's had his own house. I'm not gonna count Dracula Untold. That thing was a disaster. So if it is Dracula, I hope it's Universal's spin on Dracula and not based on a movie, but time will tell. So next up, we have another IP, and it is the symbol of a Cadillac. And this rumor has been out. It's swirling. Ghostbusters, right? The Ecto one, guess what it is? It's a Cadillac. So I am pretty confident that we will see Ghostbusters at HHN33. Now the big question is, what version of Ghostbusters? There is some solid debate in the rumor community right now of whether or not it's going to be based on the original movies, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, or the new movies, and we have a brand new Ghostbuster release this year. So here's why I think it could go either way, right? Ghostbusters 1 and 2. It's the 40th anniversary of Ghostbusters. It came out in 1984. It's the 35th anniversary of Ghostbusters 2. It came out in 1989. I accidentally tweeted that it was the 30th anniversary yesterday, but thank you for everyone who corrected me. So I could absolutely see them celebrating the anniversary and having those original 2 movies be the house. But on the flip side, we have a new series that already has 1 movie out. Their 2nd movie is coming out this month, and rumor has it it's going to be our first announcement. So if that's true, I could see it being based on the new franchise, the new movies. There's some solid debate on what people would rather see. Would you rather see a Ghostbusters 1 and 2 mashup, even though we already had Ghostbusters in 2019? It wasn't that long ago, even though it kind of feels like it. Or would you rather see the new movies and see some new content? It's a toss-up for me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Next up, we have this symbol, which leaves a lot of room for interpretation. I don't know about this one. My mind has gone a couple different ways. One is wishful thinking, one is whatever the opposite of wishful thinking would be. And then, I don't know, I'm really curious to see what you guys think about this one. But someone online already figured out that half the skull looked like the caretaker from the tribute store last year. And so my brain just, I'm seeing things that I want to see, right? I'm hoping for Slaughter Sinema 2, taking in some of those themes that were in the comic books from the tribute store last year and bringing them into the Slaughter Sinema universe. But that's just really because I want a Slaughter Sinema 2. So there's really not much that I can argue as for why that symbol would be Slaughter Sinema 2. It really makes no sense. That's just my wishful thinking. Opposite of wishful thinking, it's black and white. I'd heard rumblings of Terrifier. I hope that's not true, but the black and white did make my brain think that way. However, I just corrected myself because there's no IP mark on this. So this should be an original. So whew, I just saved myself the stress of thinking it might be Terrifier. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think or what you hope this one could be. Continuing around to our final soundstage location, we have a lollipop for SS24B. Now, my brain, I immediately thought of Sweet's Revenge. We had that scare zone in that area 2 years ago. It's an original character. I feel like that's a scare zone that could absolutely go to a house. And we've had this trend of scare zones turning into houses, houses turning into scare zones. So I could see them pulling that and doing a fully fleshed out story. Now saying that, I feel like there's a million different things this could turn into. So that's just my first thought. It's an original, but if I'm trying to think as Horror Night Nightmares and trying to give hints that all of us fans would think of, I think it's natural for all of us to jump to Sweet's Revenge. Over in what we were previously calling Tent 3 at the Fast and Furious location, we have unknown IP. Pretty self-explanatory there. We have no info, we have no hints to go off of, but they're assuming it's going to be an IP in that location. We'll move on. Now here's something that we haven't talked about yet because this is my first video of the season, but we have an extra 2 tents on this map and we're missing the parade buildings. And if you aren't part of the rumors and speculation community and you get most of your info from here on YouTube, let me break the potentially terrible news for you, and that is it seems like we are not using the 2 parade buildings for Horror Nights 33. If you aren't familiar with what the parade buildings are, that would be where Monsters Unmasked and The Last of Us were held last year. So those 2 big warehouses that are essentially 2 extra sound stages, doesn't look like we're using them, and that is a little heartbreaking for me because that means we're dropping out 2 locations that were not quite as great as a soundstage, but almost, and quite large spaces, dropping down to 2 additional tents, which would bring us to 5 tents, 5 sound stages for Halloween Horror Nights 33, and that is not a ratio that I love. Well, no shade to tent houses because in the last decade they have turned out some of the best houses we've had. They can be very claustrophobic, they can feel closed in. You just don't get the big open scenery that you'll get in the parade buildings or the sound stages. And just think about how long The Last of Us house was. You're just not gonna get that in a tent. So if this is true, it is a little bit of a heartbreak. Who knows why? Hopefully it's temporary. Hopefully this is not the future of Halloween Horror Nights forever. Also, I am terrified of how we're going to get to and from these houses. That's 4 tents in a very close quartered area where we were already walking a ton. I have no idea how logistics will work for this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it today, but it's a little scary. It might be the scariest thing I've heard of for this year's event so far. I'm sure we'll be talking about that quite a bit as the season goes on. Let's continue with the map. So in what they're calling Sprung 3, we have this symbol, which is like a mute symbol, which to me, it's an IP. It screams A Quiet Place. We've had that rumor swirling in recent weeks, and I believe this is going to be A Quiet Place day one. When this rumor started swirling, everyone's like, how can you do A Quiet Place? The whole movie is about being quiet. How can you do a haunted house that's quiet? However, the brand new movie that's coming out this summer is day one. It's the day the aliens invade. So much easier to be loud, noisy. Humans don't know that they're supposed to be quiet yet. And I think it has potential. We talked about this on RIP Tour podcast, shameless plug, that you could have at least one room in the house that was actually quiet, where the humans have figured out that you need to be quiet. And that would be very unnerving. If this is in fact coming, it will be based on the new movie, not the first two movies. I still don't know how they'll pull it off because I don't know that the aliens from that movie are going to translate well in a haunted house. We will see. It's very early in the season. For Sprung 2, they have Unknown Original. Self-explanatory again. We don't know. Time will tell. Sprung 1, we have this guy, and I have thoughts, which I feel like all the pieces just fell together today. So we have code names for these houses, except for tent 3 and tent 4 because those are brand new. They just got added. We don't have code names for those that I know of yet. However, we do have code names for 8 of the other houses, and for tent 1, the code name is Baklava. Now, at first I was under the impression that these are just all dessert names. They have nothing to do with anything. Like, they just threw out some desserts and made it happen. However, we have s'mores, which could very easily be Ghostbusters. And now we have Baklava for tent 1, which combined with this symbol is giving me Minotaur. It's giving Greek mythology, dare I say, Poseidon. So we had Dueling Dragons last year where they brought an attraction that was no longer existing into a Halloween Horror Nights house. Why couldn't they do Poseidon? It's another fan favorite. Clearly everyone showed their love for it when it closed, and it's rich with lore. I think this is one that they could easily turn into a Halloween Horror Nights house without it having to be as closely tied to the attraction as Dueling Dragons. I could see this happening. I could see some Greek mythology. My only question is, did I just answer my own question? I feel like once again I answered my own question. In my brain, I was like, how do you do the water tunnel and a tent? And you know what you do? You do the spinny tunnel and make it look like it's water. Done. If it happens in the house, I'm a genius. But that brings us to our final house on this map, and it's a moon and stars. It has the IP symbol. I was already going to Dreamwalkers, to Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, this is an educated guess based on the rumors that were swirling. It's already been discovered online that this star and moon matches with the logo from the 2007 house, Nightmare on Elm Street Dreamwalkers. So I am pretty confident that's exactly what this hint was from Horror Night Nightmares. Now remember, these hints are coming from Horror Night Nightmares, so it's not like we cracked the code from Universal, but this is clearly what they were referencing, and I do believe we will see Nightmare on Elm Street at Halloween Horror Nights 33. Now, again, a little sad it's in a tent because, as I just referenced, we did have a Freddy Krueger house in 2007. It was awesome with the full Elm Street facade, and I was really hoping to get to see that again. I know a lot of fans who are attending the event, who are watching these videos, didn't get to attend Halloween Horror Nights in 2007. So I was hoping you guys were gonna get to have that experience, but we'll see. Maybe they will do like they've done in the past, and the facade will just be the outside of the tent. They can do some amazing things back there. Time will tell. Before we leave the map entirely, there obviously are no scare zones yet. That's like the last thing that starts to come out is scare zones. Those will be much later on. They do have the Death Eaters in Diagon Alley once again, and we have what looks to be 2 shows. So we have Nightmare Fuel, No Shock, in its usual location, but we also have an IP show in Animal Actors stage. It has like a little castle turret on it. I'm not sure what that means. It's an IP, so it's based on something. Exciting that we'll possibly get a second show. Notably missing from this is a Lagoon show, and I was hoping that with all the work they're doing on the Lagoon, that we would see a Lagoon show return. I guess we still could. It's early. Who knows when that construction is going to end. It would be great to have 3 shows instead of just 2, but I'm glad to at least have 2 instead of just 1. So yeah, that is our first spec map of the season. I don't want to drag this out. I just want it to be a short and sweet, quick video talking about what's been released. I'm excited to be back talking Horror Nights. Obviously, you guys know that I will cover all of these as they are released. All the speculation maps from Horror Night Nightmares, they are my friends. I love continuing to support them and our friendship. We've known each other for a very, very long time. So I am thankful they are back doing their maps yet again this year. I'll be covering any announcements we get, which I think We're due for our first announcement later this month. Fingers crossed there. And of course, once fall rolls around, you guys know I'll be out there in the fog covering all the scare zones, the food, the coconut club, fingers crossed, and everything else at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando 2024. If you aren't already, make sure to subscribe, click the like button, and leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think of this first map and which item you're most excited for. So with that, I will see you guys very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye.